Episode 7 of the podcast. Yeah, buddy. Are you excited?
Sure. I'm excited.
So, we have approximately 10 episodes planned out for you guys. That means we're almost done with the podcast. We're hoping that some people will tune in live tonight and throw us some questions, some hard hitters that we can answer for you.
Yeah, that would be nice. If people asked questions and stuff.
If you're watching or listening on the replays, then of course you can drop questions in the comments, things that you want to know, etc., etc. Okay, let's get started. This week's episode, so last week we touched on what's not working for us in our dynamic, right? The things that are the biggest hurdles we've experienced since making this arrangement. Tonight's episode is reserved specifically for the co-parenting aspect. Because as we touched on last week, that has in many ways been the ultimate struggle for us, is the pushback with my co-parent that we have received and how it has affected our ability to keep a copacetic household.
Yep.
So first things first, obviously, unless someone gives up their parenting rights, which isn't likely in this situation, you can just move that if you want. Unless someone gives up their co-parenting rights, which isn't likely in this situation, he and I are going to have to figure out how to copacetically work together, right? If he cares to be in the kids' lives at all.
Yeah.
Which he claims to desire, right? The big issue, of course, being he doesn't like me. He doesn't agree with the way I live my life. He doesn't agree with me as a human being in general, I guess, supposedly.
Well, he calls both of us horrible names, so...
Still to this day. Almost daily. Which is another huge hurdle that we face because there's no emotionally mature communication. There's no, he will text me and say, keep it about the kids, focus on the kids. But every other text I get from him is this barrage of you're horrible and you're a drug addict and you're lazy and you're a mooch and you're psychotic and you're a manipulator. And I'm like,
yeah,
but we need to keep it about the kids. Right.
It's tough.
It's hard. The other thing with that is I am an antagonizer because I am a communicator. My chart is super Mercury heavy, right? I am a Gemini sun with a Virgo rising. So I am a yapper. I like to talk. I like to write. I'm a communicator. I'm an over communicator at times.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need to shut the fuck up.
I didn't see it. Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah.
But because of that, obviously, he doesn't necessarily respond well, and we see a crash out on the weekly from this guy in regards to the co-parenting situation because, of course, our children are still very young. They don't have their own mobile devices to be communicating personally with him because it's not age appropriate yet, right? At some point we'll get there. Obviously, they will have their own private ways of communicating with him, and I don't have to be a third party. But until then, my mobile device, my communication devices are the only way that he has to see or talk to them because he refuses to come visit. Now, we have our own speculations, assumptions, pattern recognition in regards to why that would be, that he doesn't come to visit, that he hasn't seen them for as long as it's been. But in the end, he maintains that it's just too far away and he doesn't know where they are. Whatever. At the end of the day, he hasn't seen them. He doesn't like me. He won't communicate with me. He won't pay anything towards child support, which, here's the thing. And I think I've even said this in episodes previous to this. I don't expect him to be a perfect parent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not the expectation. The expectation is that you rise to your responsibilities. So, if you're only making $600 a month, I'm not going to sit here and be like, wow, you're a piece of crap and you're lazy and you only make $600 a month. My expectation is, okay, your income is $600 a month. By default, 30% of that should go to your kids, because that's the minimum that would be going towards them if you had them in your care.
Yeah.
I don't care if
They
you
are
only make
expensive.
$60 a month. 30% of that 60 should be going towards your kids.
I think so.
That's
I feel
my
like
personal
it's
belief.
reasonable, you know, like,
Because that, I mean, you're going to be paying so much more than that if the kids are actually in your care and you're paying for every single expense constantly.
Yeah, it's
the
very
bare
expensive.
minimum,
Very expensive.
in my opinion, is 10% per child.
It's killing me financially. Like
10% per child, bare minimum. We have 3 kids, that's 30% of whatever the fuck your monthly income is. And if you sent me that, if you gave me that towards their needs, I wouldn't say a goddamn word ever. I'd be like, you know what? He tries. He sends 30% of his monthly income towards their needs. That is a valid effort.
Yeah, he did make an effort for many years, but then
he dropped the ball, and it's been a couple years.
Not just partially dropped the ball, completely dropped the ball. Like, you can't even get $5 out of him for
diapers or milk or anything.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
And then he'll sit there and say, like, well, you didn't pay child support when I took them away from you for 6 months. Oh, first of all, let's reel it in a little bit, because you fucking took the kids from me. Why should I be paying you child support when you have a double income household and I'm trying to get back on my feet?
Yeah.
I don't even have my kids. And yet, and of course, I come with receipts. I always come with receipts. I can prove that I still, while making minimum wage plus tips and being far away from my children, not seeing them or talking to them ever, I still sent him an amount of money monthly towards things for them.
Yeah.
I think, and it wasn't like an exact amount per month. It was like, I think the first month I sent him like $20, and the second month I sent him like $60, and the third month I sent him like $40, and the fourth month I sent him like $160 because I got paid really well. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. But I think the breakdown, like when I did the math and I was like, okay, I sent you this much money, they were with you for 6 months, it broke down to $45 a month that I was sending him towards our children, towards Starbucks and McDonald's, if we want to be very fucking specific about what he was spending it on.
Wait, so you were sending money?
I sent him a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, like I said, it wasn't like, okay, it was $64 consistently every 2 weeks, like nothing like that. But I sent him money here and there, and I have the receipts for that.
Yeah.
And he'll sit there and be like, you didn't pay child support. Go back to your Apple Pay and your Cash App and go ahead and check the money that I sent you throughout those months that the kids were with you, and I was nowhere to be found. Because, no, I didn't pay child support, but I still sent you money towards things. And it might not have been a chunk of change that you can go do a shopping spree with, but it was something towards my children because I wasn't with them and I know that they have needs.
Right.
And I had an income that was only for me at that time, and I felt obligated to send something.
Right. Which you
now,
think that
could I
he
have
would
sent
do the
more?
same thing.
Maybe, probably, but I was trying to get myself stabilized. And secondly, he was being a royal D-bag. So I'm not going to go out of my way and above and beyond, but I'm definitely sending something.
Plus, he's got the new chick is a lawyer, so
she's a double barred lawyer. Like, hello, and she owns the house that they live in, and they just bought a new Tesla. Like, you don't need my fucking money. I promise you that. I promise you that. And that's the aggravating part, is that if and when he is gainfully employed, they make significantly more money than I can make on my own.
Yeah.
And he's sitting here out of spite, being
way
like,
more than me as well.
D can pay for it. You live with D. D can pay for it. And then girlfriend number 3, baby mama number 2, whatever you want to call her at this point in time, dumbass bitch number 3, whatever. We can label her however we want to label her, but at the end of the day, she has the audacity to text me back when I say, hey, listen, your deadbeat husband has 3 children he's not providing for. Can you kind of talk some sense into him? Because you're a lawyer, so you know the legal responsibilities that he has towards his children, and you're not saying anything, and that makes you look bad. And what was her response? Get a job to support your kids. I support mine. Right, you support your kid that came from our mutual deadbeat daddy who's not fucking paying for his first 3 born children.
God, I'm so glad I never had a baby.
I can't. You got off so fucking lucky. And it's crazy because obviously
so
3 to 5 years ago, you'd have been like, fuck you, that's the most horrible thing you could say to me. Like, I wanted a baby. I tried for a baby, but
I did, and I was really sad. And
that's valid, you know what I mean?
But
like,
now I'm just like, whew, golly.
I don't have to be the baby mama, the other baby mama, you know what I mean?
And just to have to interact with that hate that he dishes out on the
The vitriol is so strong.
I just can't.
It's hard to get through because, of course, we can't negate the factor that at one point in time, I was in love with this man. I was trying to create a family with this man, right? I had nothing but love for this man. And I, in my mind, thought that that was reciprocal on some level,
I know,
right?
My dumbass did too.
Right. And to go from like that just only a few years ago within my life, right, to now, I think one of the last things I said to him was, listen, as a human being, a piece of me, of course, still has love and empathy for you. But the majority of the time, you drive me fucking crazy, and I regret ever getting involved with you.
Yeah.
And that's such a sucky place to be. Because at the very least, I thought that we would at least be able to be co-parents.
You get sort of addicted to the trauma to a certain degree. Like, it's really weird. But, like...
I don't get addicted to it.
No, I'm saying not now, but, like, then...
Oh, like when you're in it, like...
Right, just in the throes of passion.
Yeah.
You know? Like...
Well, and that's the big part of, like, narcissistic abuse. That's the huge part, is, like, they abuse you, and then they hoover you back in, and then they abuse you, and then they hoover you back in, right?
It's got a strong hoover, let me tell you.
Listen.
The hoover is strong with this.
Top of the line hoover, that one.
Oh.
But you're not wrong. It's a really vicious cycle to be in. So, of course, we're trying to get the court thing figured out, and that's been a nightmare because all of the court systems are backed up, right? Serving him, a nightmare, collecting an amount, a nightmare, like, just all of it. A living nightmare trying to navigate the court systems at all. And every once in a while, I will throw out to him, hey, you do know we have the option to settle privately via mediation. We don't have to go through the courts. It doesn't have to be just a private arrangement. We can have something on paper and settle together with a legal mediator. We have that option. And every time I bring it up, it's, you want to go to court, you want to do it the hard way, you want to make my life a living hell. And I'm like, or no mediation, I guess. Guess that's not an option.
I don't understand the yelling all the time.
So much yelling.
And then saying that I yell all the time. I'm like, I was only yelling to stop your madness.
And what is that called, folks? Reactive abuse.
Yeah.
So, the big struggles, of course, with his involvement being no financial help. No breaks for us because he doesn't have visitation. He doesn't see them. He hasn't seen them. Right? Really, like, disrespectful, immature communication on his part, but also on mine, because I get caught up and I'm like, fuck you, bro. And like, let's go then. Let's throw some dirt at each other, I guess, if that's what we're doing.
You're definitely like, that's why, now I know why you guys like, I mean, I've never seen more intent, like, texting in my entire life. That's wild.
Because the passion is there. We both give a fuck really hard.
Get each other's goat.
That
Big
part.
time.
We both give a fuck really hard, but we both also like know exactly what to say to set the other one off.
Clearly.
But so unfortunately, that is not a very healthy dynamic to have with your co-parent.
Nope. It's not a healthy dynamic to have with anyone.
Well, no, but especially not your co-parent.
Right.
And it makes it really hard to move forward. So another example of a struggle is the fact that I have been out of the situationship long enough and out of an actual relationship with him long enough that I'm ready to kind of start dipping my toes back into the dating pool. Not right away, not right this second, but maybe sooner than later.
You've already been slightly dipping, but not dipping.
I mean, I've been
not
scrolling
dipping in
the
person.
apps, but
exactly.
You know,
not dipping in person. Me, I'm terrified of the apps. I don't know. I like to fall in love with celebrities on TikTok.
the limerence is strong. But listen, it's an easier, safer path than actual human interaction with people that are so average and just, I'm such a jaded human still that I scroll the apps and I'm like, okay, so you're 38 and you're single, but are you? And if you are, why the fuck are you single? What's wrong with you?
But are you?
You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants somebody to like.
This
be
is why I don't get
them.
on the dating apps, because I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody.
But I deserve that human adult connection and the possibility of finding somebody to share a life with and raise my children with.
That would be great.
But even that is a struggle with the co-parenting situation, because let's say I found someone that I was interested in. How do I explain to them the father of my children?
You don't.
And then simultaneously be like, please be patient. I promise I'm worth it. Because I know I am, but anyone that hears the outside perspective is like, oh, hell no. Bye, bitch. Listen, a couple suitcases worth of baggage is fine, but you got a whole cargo ship. I'm good on that. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
So it carries over. There's a ripple effect, I guess is where I'm going with that, is that there's a ripple effect, and it's frustrating. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like something's got to give. I feel like, first of all, I'm not stupid, and also I did not choose to procreate with somebody who is stupid.
That's true. He's definitely not stupid.
Like, intelligence-wise, it's there. The emotional intelligence is severely lacking, but the IQ is there. You know what I mean? Like the ability
more
to
than
comprehend
Yeah.
something and like
Yeah. That's the part that I really enjoyed, was that I was able to like talk about sciencey stuff that most people, like, as soon as I start talking about it, their eyes
They
roll
just
back
check
in
out.
their head and they fucking pass out. Like, you know, they lose me at the word science or chemistry. And so,
but mentally, IQ-wise, intellectually, he can keep up. And so that's another extra frustrating part for me is I'm like, dude, you're not fucking stupid. I'm not fucking stupid. Why can't we figure this out? Because I'm flexible and I'm willing and I'm able. The issue is that you're not going to be a full-time dad. You're not going to have our children in your weird ass household with that lady and that. No, it's not going to happen. But I do want you involved. I do want you contributing towards our children if you desire that. And if you don't desire that, don't be a coward. At this point, there's been enough cowardice. Just say what you need to say. Hey, listen, I don't fucking give a fuck about you. I don't fucking give a fuck about those kids. I'm moving on. I started a new family. Like,
I would
you know
respect
what I mean?
that more than like
I would respect
half-assing
that
it.
so much more than what the situation that we have presently
Right.
happening.
Just talking to them every single day, but yet if they ask for something, he's not gonna get it.
Yeah, something as simple as even the other day, a couple days ago, the oldest was talking about the birthday situation and how 9th birthday was ruined and, you know, I didn't get to see you last year and did you even send me a present? And he was like, well, you know, your mom said that she had a P.O. box for you, but I think it was only for like a month. And she checked him instantly, was like, no, it was for 6 months, right? And looked at me and was like, it was for 6 months, right? I said, yeah, it was there from June to December for you guys to send birthday and Christmas gifts because that's the time frame that our children have birthdays and Christmas. You paid for a P.O. box for
like
6 months.
$130 or something for 3 months, and then I had to pay again, I think.
Because I really assumed that their father would be sending them Christmas and birthday gifts. And they only ever got something from his mother, their grandmother, and great-grandma. Cards, of course. Lovely cards. Amazing. I'm glad somebody utilized the fucking P.O. box. But it was intentionally set up for Dad. And Dad did not utilize it. Nor did he pay for it. It was not under his dollar, nothing. And he's like, well, I didn't know if it was real. I didn't know if that was a thing. Oh, so you don't talk to your mother or your grandmother? I'm calling bullshit because we know very fucking well enough that there is weekly contact with mom and or grandma.
Maybe, yeah.
What do you mean maybe? I mean, that's how it's been in the past, I guess.
Every couple weeks or whatever.
No, maybe. I mean, that's how it's been in the past, I guess.
Every couple weeks or whatever.
Enough within 6 months that there could be verification more than one time over that cards were sent and received and that the P.O. box was a real thing.
For sure. Plus, I mean, I think about it and I'm like, if my kids were away from me, like I would, and somebody gave me a P.O. box and said that I could get them something that way, like I would totally send them at least a card at first just to like make sure they get it and stuff, you know? But, you know, also we have to like hold space for the fact that he was recovering from alcohol and drugs, and you know, that does sort of play into, sometimes people feel like overwhelmed if they take on anything besides like just focusing on staying
sobriety.
sober. Yeah. But, you know, this is me being overly kind probably because that's usually the case. But, you know, just throwing that out there.
I do understand the addiction part of things, and I do try to give grace and have flexibility. I mean, you see me day to day. I mean, I talk shit don't get me wrong, I absolutely talk shit. But in the actual day-to-day practice of things, I handle it. I give him the flexibility, I give him the grace, and I figure it the fuck out.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And he'll tell anyone that listens, like, hey, this bitch will blow my whole life up every chance she gets. No, because I haven't even tried.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, I haven't even tried.
Yeah, I don't know.
The little bit of drama and chaos that I have caused in his life over the lies and the deceit and the manipulation and the abuse on his end is...
And the continuation of getting you pregnant repeatedly over years.
Yeah. Yeah, while being romantically involved with other people. Like, it just... So, but anyways, all of that to say... Yeah.
Oh, man.
But all of that to say that, you know, while I do talk shit and I do have certain expectations of my co-parent, because there were many conversations had through the years regarding what he was willing to commit to, what he was able to commit to, like all of those things. And yet there was still an omission of a lot of things that really just kind of made it all blow up in our faces. And I feel like I'm actively cleaning up this like zone of destruction and he's actively from the sidelines like throwing rocks and like debris and being like, I gotta clean that one up. Like that's really how it feels metaphorically.
Well, I mean, it does.
And I'm like, what? You helped me blow this up. You need to get your ass over here and help with the rubble, bitch.
Right.
Like, why am I the only one working to clean this up?
Yeah.
We need this to be a functioning zone again.
Because he's living the high life, basically, and you're the one that's having to deal with the BS day in and day out,
Which I guess is technically what I chose when I chose to be a mother by somebody who wouldn't commit to me, who does have a history of addiction and other, like, mental illness challenges. I don't want to say illness, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just addiction. There's several things there that kind of play into who he is as a human.
Yeah, we all have mental challenges, but he has some things,
Some serious things. But all of that to say that, like, the things that play into that, there's been so many conversations had and mutual expectations and agreements that have been made and kept for a very long time. Up until 2022, going into 2023, when everything blew up. And I don't know how long it's going to take to get it all put back together, but it is worth noting that we are almost 2 years into our situation, and nothing with him has been resolved. Nothing with him is copacetic. Nothing with him is easy or works well or respectable or respectful.
It's not like a normal relationship that ends with someone that you have kids with, like where you can learn to co-parent and be like kind to one another, even though you really don't give a fuck about either one. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I hold a lot of animosity towards him because of what he put the kids and I through. And then, of course, secondarily, you and everyone else around us, even his own family members. Like, his sister got involved in a lot of things at one point. Like, when the Bubbles thing happened, she was involved because she was living at Grandma's house when it all went down. Like,
Bubbles thing, man.
You know what I mean? And then the new girlfriend...
that.
His sister has looked her in the eye and been like, bro, he literally has no remorse. He's a terrible person. Don't go there. And she just was like, blink, 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 blink. You know what I mean? So it's like, even his own, like, personal, closest friends and family members have this ripple effect, and this fallout has been affecting all of us. You know what I mean? And, like, me having some type of a relationship or friendship with these people also, because remember, we spent almost 12 years intertangling our lives. You know what I mean? Just the other day it came up that his best friend was like, oh yeah, how old are you now? And in my head, I'm like, well, I was about to pop standing there at your wedding. So how many years are you celebrating your anniversary this year? And that's how old she's turning, you know, and your thoughts about it are, fuck all that. I was madly in love with my brand new boyfriend and he dipped out on me for the weekend, and I found out after the fact that he was at his best friend's wedding with his pregnant baby mama. That's weird. Like, you know what I mean? But that's part of it. That's part of it. All of that still affects us.
When did that happen?
A few nights ago. He was on FaceTime with
2014.
Oh yeah, the year that our oldest was born.
Right, but when in 2014?
The summer of 2014. I was literally like about to pop. Like I think 35, 36 weeks pregnant or something. Very pregnant. Mm-hmm. So summer of 2014, yeah. You know? And that's one of those, like, that is one of those.
That was that period that we weren't even together yet.
Oh, no, you were. He was living with you. He came from San Diego to meet me in the desert to take us to Dana Point.
That's interesting. Because, like, I thought that he was just going for you to, like, have the baby. I didn't know about the other part.
He wasn't out of the casita yet, I don't think, because... Or he was out of the casita already because I was living with his mom.
I would think he was out of the casita because I picked his ass up and he had all of his shit in a bag.
Yeah, I was living with his mom when he came to visit on, like, during Mother's Day weekend. I was very pregnant, and that was either right after or right before that wedding.
Yeah, interesting. I just don't know where that was, like, in the timeline of things.
May, June. End of May, early June. Somewhere in there. I was very pregnant.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
But, and that's the thing, so...
He probably left, like, just, he needed to go back and deal with some stuff, and I was just like, of course I was cool with it.
Yeah, because it was still a fresh relationship, and you were, you know, just trying to figure out navigating all of it, right? Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of lies that you weren't privy to. And now, clearly, with us cohabitating, right? Mm-hmm. The reason I brought this up is because he was on FaceTime with the kids and his friend. Mm-hmm. And they were, you know, kikiing and, you know, connecting with the kids and talking and all that. And the conversation came up. And we were both in the room. And it's not that we're, like, attentively listening. But I keep an ear out for the conversations that my kids are having. Especially because a lot of the times it turns really weird and abusive. And I have to interject. And I have to, you know what I mean? But that conversation was fine. But on the sidelines... I'm sitting here feeling a type of way because it's bringing up certain memories and shit, and I'm like, oh yeah, that one time that I thought I was madly in love with the father of my child, and we were about to have our first kid, and we were at his best friend's wedding, and he was crying and being like, I can't wait to marry you, and all this other stuff, but he had a secret girlfriend on the side that he was living with. He said that same
kind of shit to me too. It's so funny.
You know what I mean? So, and it's like, I'm flooded with all these memories, and I'm like, oh God, hold it together, it's fine. Like, you don't have to be disgusted and weirded out and, like, feel ashamed of being duped anymore because you're not in that situation anymore. And then you're secondarily on the sidelines thinking and feeling whatever you're thinking and feeling about the situation because you had your own experiences from that time, and it's being freshly brought up. You know what I mean? And... then, of course, his reality is whatever his reality is.
That everything is hunky-dory.
Whatever
he didn't do anything wrong.
Right. He didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't living a double life, living with you, fucking you every night, telling you that that he loved you.
He wasn't punching me in the face or anything like that. Yeah.
Well, that was at the very beginning. And then, secondarily... I'm living with his family. I'm pregnant with our first child. He's visiting every chance he gets. Also fucking me, telling me I love you and we're going to work this out and I can't wait for you and the baby to come move to San Diego. And like, lovely. You know what I mean?
Super lovely.
So It's one of those, like, it doesn't affect our personal relationship because we've discussed a lot of these things and we've moved past it, and neither one of us gives a fuck about him anymore in that capacity.
Still sucks.
But it sucks to be reminded of the lies and the manipulation and the deceit.
It makes me feel so dumb.
It makes me feel dumb sometimes too. And then I get mad because I'm like, no, I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. I was intentionally manipulated by somebody.
Well,
as were you. And as really are the people that are currently in his life. They are currently being manipulated.
Yeah.
You know, it really did take everything for me not to say something to his best friend on the phone about the situation and be like, hey, can you have a one-on-one with your bestie there? Like, because I know that you know that I know that you know what the hell is going on right now.
It's surprising that they're still best friends because there's just been some crazy shit. He's probably blamed it all on me, like it was all my fault.
Yeah, and or on me, which best friend's wifey is very... She keeps an eye on the situation and keeps it at arm's length and just interacts civilly, but her and I have had conversations about the fact that she very much clocks the bullshit every time. But she allows her husband his freedom to choose his friends, and you know what I mean? Yeah. They do what they can to just navigate around it, but it has affected them as well. Because those people, his best friends, are godparents in the mix. You know what I mean? Godparents in the mix. Weird. And they have zero communication with me and almost no communication with our kids. And it's because that's how my co-parent wants it. Not how it should be, not how I would desire it to be. I love them as human beings. I adore them as individuals, as a couple. I'm sure they're wonderful as a family unit, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't been...
They were fun, but Ryan put me in weird situations that ruined that relationship. So.
Well, and the manipulation factor is consistent. It's friends, it's family, it's romantic dynamics, it's one-night stands at the bar, it's co-workers, it's everybody. It's everybody. And that's what makes it so hard to navigate moving forward.
How people could be so complacent, like, just being his friend, knowing
just
all
being
this
enabling
weird
me.
Shit. Yeah, it's just like nobody ever held him accountable or said anything. Like,
and that's why I'm the villain, because I hold him accountable consistently. Every time you say something stupid, I'm gonna hold you accountable. I'm gonna check you on it. You do something stupid, same. You know what I mean? Because if I was saying and doing dumb shit, I would expect my co-parent to check me on that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there have been moments where I was not really thinking, or maybe, you know, overlooking something that really needed to be addressed. And he was like, hey, what's going on? Why are you not doing XYZ? Hey, do you need help with ABC? When we had a good, copacetic, positive co-parenting relationship. The last thing I have to say about it is the biggest hurdle is, of course, his current romantic dynamic, the relationship that he's in currently, because of the codependency factor and the new baby that's involved and everything. Like, I'm fully aware that while she is not the problem, his relationship with her and her enabling him is the problem.
Well, I mean, honestly, the problem did start with her because she got him on Adderall. So.
Well, okay, no. Right, but she is not the problem. She is her own human being. He makes his own choices. You know what I mean?
That's true, but yeah, he chose to hang out
with her.
It
is their dynamic. It is what the choices he makes when they're together.
Sure.
Yeah, it's their relationship that's the problem. Which is
fine. Like, if that's the way they want to fucking be, that's
it's not fine for me.
No, I'm saying, as far as their relationship is concerned, that's fine. I really don't care. Go and do your weird whatever you're doing. But
I care because it affects my kids.
I was saying pay for your children.
He's never going to, because she's never going to hold him accountable. She's always going to enable him to be a deadbeat piece of crap.
Yeah.
and be like, no, she deserves it. No, she needs to get a job. She needs to go get 3 jobs if that's what it takes. You don't owe her anything, babe. You don't owe her anything. Her or those 3 kids of yours. And if she's not in his ear being like, you're being irresponsible, you should be paying for those kids. Those kids need to be supported. Right. What are you doing? Why are you not being a real fucking man? Right. If that's what she was saying to him, he'd be every week. Here's money, here's money, here's money, here's money. I gave her money, please stop. Oh, yeah.
Do you think? I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, because his ego can't take the criticism.
Oh, but I don't think he would really care about that. Like,
if she was sitting there telling him that his responsibility was to support his children and pay for them,
he would make up some kind of something that would make her like be on his side. He's just that good with words.
Oh, the narcissism factor.
Yeah, I mean, like...
No, because you held him accountable and made him do the right thing, and he was consistently there, visiting them, paying for things, paying bills.
But the thing is that was all his
You weren't
desire.
sitting there...
I wasn't holding him accountable. He wanted to do all that stuff. I just allowed him to do it because I was like, of course, please go take care of your children. That's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but it wasn't an allowance. It was your expectation that why would you do anything other than right by your children and be paying those bills and be seeing that?
Yeah, he just was already doing that kind of stuff. I don't know. She changed him for sure. Like, he became a different person, literally a different person after being around her for the second time in life. And it's just, I didn't recognize him.
I don't recognize him as a person either. He's so cold and mean.
Yeah, he was not like that before.
Angry and it's... And you know what's crazy? I had a conversation with the oldest recently about the fact that, because she was like, I remember when we used to go visit grandma and all the family would be together and we would all be laughing and it would be so much fun all the time, and I'm just sad that we can't do that anymore. And I said, yeah, it is really sad because we did have some really great times and we do laugh a lot together, your dad and I and his family. Like, there's a lot of like cutting up that happens. We have a very like shared sense of humor, so there's a lot of
you guys having a better dynamic in that regard. I always was probably just too serious or whatever. So.
Well, but it came up that him and the current girlfriend, she said, I don't think I've ever heard him and laugh together. And I said, seriously?
Oh, well, we definitely laughed together.
No, her.
Oh.
Not you. Her.
The new one.
Yeah. Our oldest said, I don't think I have ever heard Daddy and girlfriend number 3, insert name here, laugh together.
Interesting.
And I said, really? And I said, your dad is pretty hilarious, like just on his own. Like, she doesn't just laugh at the crazy things he says. And she was like, no, not really. They don't really laugh together. And that shocked me because I was like, whoa, for him to be in a romantic dynamic with someone he doesn't even have fun with and like cut up with, like, when I tell you, at one point I told this man multiple times, like, you should pursue stand-up comedy. You would be really good at stand-up comedy. Like, I really think that is something that you would thrive in, even if just as a fun hobby on the side.
Yeah. Sometimes it was goofy, but sometimes it was really fun.
I mean, stand-up comedy can be really, like, slapstick, silly, goofy. You know what I mean? But the thing is like, for that to be his personality that I know, and our oldest be like, yeah, I've never heard him laugh with the person he's with currently, I was like, oh, that's crazy. Yeah. That's concerning. Honestly,
I don't really care.
If you are habitually a comedic person and you don't laugh with the person that you cohabitate and are romantically entangled with, then it's going to at some point become an issue. You're stifling a piece of your personality. And I'm saying all this because you said she changed him. She
Yeah.
changed him clearly in ways that none of us would have ever expected.
Yeah.
There's
Which
not
is
even a
fine.
humor or a comedy factor
It's
anymore.
fine. I really don't care. I mean,
I care because it affects our kids. They see these things. They notice these things. They, like, and then obviously it affects me because I'm trying to navigate a dynamic with a co-parent that doesn't even fucking exist as a person anymore.
yeah.
It's a whole new human I'm trying to figure out how to communicate with.
Yeah.
Like, that is
It's
hard.
a roller coaster, man.
Mhm.
Oh, so much stress. I'm
Yeah.
so glad that I don't have that stress in my life anymore.
Yeah, and so to end this episode, to really go into next week, we get to talk about like what works well for us, what is like what are our favorite parts about cohabitating and co-parenting the kids together and our friendship and all of that, the good stuff, the really good stuff, you know what I mean? And then after that is our episode talking about what's next. Where do we go from here? What is the dynamic moving forward? What are the expectations? What are the boundaries, etc.? Like, what are the expectations and boundaries, essentially. Mm-hmm. Not to repeat myself, but we are right now starting to shift towards not cohabitating anymore. You're not going to be my co-parent for much longer. You know?
Yeah, I mean...
So now we're on a timeline crunch of, can we figure out, we being him and I as co-parents, how to make this work when I go from having stability and support and a co-parent 24/7, a second adult in the house, to now not only is just raising the kids and keeping the house in the house, to now not only is just raising the kids and keeping the household on me like it was before, but now he's not contributing at all towards the bills. Now it's all on me. All of the finances, all of the emotions, all of the physical, like when they're getting neurovirus over and over and over and passing it amongst each other. And I'm cleaning up puke and poop for days on end while I'm also puking and pooping. Like,
you need a nanny.
Right, I need a nanny, but how am I supposed to get a nanny when I'm the only person working and there's no co-parent, there's no child support, there's no nothing?
He
you
needs
know what I mean?
to help. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's what we're navigating moving into the next 6 to 8 months when the kids and I cut free. And of course you've expressed that, like, you know, if you really need me, I'll be there. Like, I'm not just going to drop you like a hot potato. But also, we are separating our lives again. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the right move.
Yeah.
For, I think, everyone, you know, me staying around longer is just gonna make it even more confusing for the kids longer term
and harder for them to
exactly and
separate.
Also, like,
they're attached emotionally. They love you. You're
I
their
have
bonus
to like
mom.
Completely cut this cord because it's like a cord that still ties me to him, even though it doesn't really, but it does.
No, it
you know
does.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just need to like deal with that so that I can move forward, and I also have to learn how to like be bored and alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have done that so much in my life, but and I don't like it. I hate it.
But you have to learn how to be bored and alone post-trauma.
And I don't like it. I hate it.
But you have to learn how to be bored and alone post-trauma.
Yeah, that's true.
Post,
it was
like
so
moving
hard.
into a new phase.
It was so
of
hard,
life.
like after the
And I love that we've been able to be here with you and for you to help you heal in certain ways and regain clarity on other things that maybe you weren't sure of before, you know?
Yeah.
So, all of that is, I guess, to say that next week is not so serious. It'll be a lot more fun and probably a bit more laughs while we share our favorite parts of living together and co-parenting and the friendship that we have fostered, and where we go after. It's gonna be good, guys. We're almost done with the season. We're almost done with the podcast, and we love that anyone and everyone has tuned in to listen to our story, and
hopefully it's helped at least one person.
Yeah, allow us to inject a little lived wisdom into your day.
Yeah. Stay the fuck away from red flag people.
Well, and what is a red flag, right? Subjective a little bit,
about
maybe.
It in other episodes. So
yeah, those red flags specifically you should stay away from. Episodes 1 through 5. No. Anyway, everyone have a beautiful night. Thank you for joining us. We will see you again next week at 9 p.m. for episode 8 of Exes to Allies.